You are live now.
Hi everybody. Joining us today, we've got a little
Audience
here from Tourism Victoria. So hi guys, welcome along, and welcome along to everybody on this cover. Now we're going to start off with mammillarias. So John, if you're coming a little bit closer. So here we've got a little mam that's flowering and also has got seed. So that's the seed, and the easiest thing to do with that is have a little taste, and if it's really bad you throw it away. But that's what we now harvest to grow our seeds. Now just to give you an idea, I won't show you the one I've been eating. On the inside here, these are the worst things for getting seed. That is the fine seed that we have. There might be 50 to 100 seeds there, but can you imagine trying to get those things washed and dry without having all this other goo with it? When you got big seeds, it's not so bad. When you got little tiny seeds, it's very difficult. But anyway, that's my problem, not yours. Okay, so also
Someone's laughing.
Also here we've got a fish hook cactus, or more commonly it's a pharaoh cactus. And you can see these fish hooks. Now the natives use these for catching fish before steel fish hooks, I guess. But very strong. So this plant could be lifted by this one thing and you won't pull it off. Whereas if you do that with other cacti, it will break off. And that's the reason that pharaoh means steel. And so that's where the reference to the steel comes from, because the spines are so strong.
Warmer Climate says, I have that cactus and he's huge.
Good. Well, that's a little growing one. That's a hybrid, and a fancy hybrid. But you can see over here some more flowers. So we'll just show everybody a few more of the flowers on these mammillarias. And if I put my hand down here, you can get a size of how big this clump is. When we were in America, we saw some of these clumps that would have been 1 metre across. Very big. And then up further, related to a mammillaria, we have a Coreophantha species. And you can see that the seed on these, one way to distinguish it when they've got seed, the seed is green, generally speaking, a much bigger flower, because they're trying to attract bees, I guess. I don't know what the mammillarias attract, but they're very bright. And then this is an Echinocereus with a very plasticky flower that lasts for up to a week and stays nice and bright. And once again, you can see some fruit falling down.
Thanks for all the comments, Sonia.
And now, over here, John, we've got a flower on a pharaoh cactus, a big flower. So I refer to these ones sort of like proteas of the cactus world, because they have this unique, very large coloured centre often of the flower, and they look a bit protea-like.
What's a protea?
Protea is a South African bush.
Okay, so the flower is
They
similar.
usually have the ones you see that you buy in the florist. They have quite big,
Okay.
bright flowers.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is the seed pod on these. Let's see if we can get one off without being...
We'll try on another one close by that's...
Here we go.
The spines sort of trap that in there, don't they?
Trapped, and when we... And I'll explain about the ants in a moment. When we open this up, you'll see lots of large seed. Now, you can imagine there's several thousand, 100,000 maybe of these in the desert, and the Aztecs and the Mayans used to harvest these every year, and they would make like a flour by grinding them, and then eat these, very high in protein. not so tasty from what I've experienced.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll go to the ants. Now, maybe one that's closer, John, to you. So you can see this is one that has very large spikes. The ants aren't working today on this one. Here we go. Now if you look in the centre here where these ants are, you can see the little glands that there are at the back of the aerial where the next bud is coming, and they have a wax on them. So these are actually flower buds coming here at the moment, but in between the flower bud and the first spike there's a little, I guess I could describe it like a little nipple, and that gives out a reward when the ants tickle it, like a little sap, and they harvest that, and they also get the wax off the outside of the bud that's coming with the flower. And the amazing thing is these are black ants working here, and they're the day shift. At night we have the red ants or the bigger bull ants come and work these, and you'll go to different plants and you'll find different colonies working these, and they keep this whole plant clean because this is like their harvest. And so they keep the plant nice and clean, keep everything else off its scale and such like. And if it wasn't for this reward, they would put scale on here to harvest it on the plant.
Lyndon Holt asked, do they cross easily with other cacti?
They cross easily with Cactus.
Okay.
Not with,
Do they don't cross with any other genus?
Lyndon, you can't cross it with a Trichocereus.
No, that's the...
Get it, mate?
You can't do it. There you go. You've heard it here first. And you're about to walk into a cactus on your back right.
Yes,
just be careful. Cool.
Right, on this side, so probably didn't mention at the start, everybody, this is North America that we're in this afternoon. We may have mentioned that this morning, but we didn't mention it at the start of the talk. So the other species that there are a lot of in North America are agave. So we're talking Mexico, United States, being the general area that we're talking about. They will go down into South America, so there's a few down there, but they're usually probably being carted there because they've got some value for their the ability to make garments and to get string out of the larger ones with the leaves. So yeah, this is a very tight, compact one. John, what's the name of that one?
This one, agave.
Yes.
Is it a Potacia or is it a... Oh, it's close. Go on, give me that. Give me that.
And if somebody wants to
I'll take that to the bank right there.
And this is agave titanota, and you can see the great big teeth on this. And then you have a whole lot of other forms. Do we have the other forms here?
Stephanie from US Southwest in the Sonoran Desert says hi.
Hi. Well, they'd have lots there.
Yep.
Can you tell us what their
She-
native ones are?
Steph, can you tell us what your native agaves are?
So these plants all came from that plant behind. Now it's gone now. We took
dead.
it away.
Yep.
But this one's got black teeth. These were pups. This one's got black teeth. Bit unusual. And then over here you can see white teeth.
Like shark's teeth.
Like shark's teeth. And then over this other side,
And you can see the imprint that it leaves on the leaf as it grows.
yes, they're very artistic. What else have we got here, John? Oh, we've got the totem pole.
Which is almost completely spineless.
They only get spines when they get up to the top where they start to flower. So
Right, so
This
it
is-
needs spines to flower.
yes, this is where it started flowering, and it'll flower again this year. And
So is there a reason that you could think of that it would require spines when it's taller?
no, it only requires spines when it flowers. It's a bit like the ones that have a cephalum, I suspect. Some cacti expert may be able to clarify that, but I'm not
Cool.
an expert, so let's clarify that. Down here we've got a very bright mammillaria now, but I think they were Neoloidia or Neodesia, something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting how the plant names have changed in the last 15
Yeah, they
years.
keep changing them that often that I can't keep up.
Well, part of the reason they're changing them is because of the regions that they're growing in and the climates and the terrain, isn't it?
Good luck.
Yep, good luck figuring it out. Go to cactiguide.com.
Yes. We'll give them a free plug because they're a lot easier.
They're
to
a
keep
great
up.
resource.
An astrophytum,
Bishop's hat?
bishop's cap. You can see there why it's called the bishop's cap. It's got a very looking like a bishop's mitre.
Agave americana is native to the southwest, to Phoenix.
There you go. That one up there, guys.
That's americana.
The big one up there.
Do you have the variegate as well then? Agave americana variegate? Have a look at these, how they're flowering on the south side, Dad. So do you think there's a reason these mounds flower on the south versus the north?
No, they've already flowered on this side.
Oh, so this is
And
the
they've rotated
last.
with the brighter light now.
Okay.
They've rotated to the back. So these started flowering in early August.
Cool.
So they start very early here. I suspect it's fairly cold where they grow in the natural climate.
Right. At high altitude or low?
Possibly.
Higher altitude.
It's too hard for me to keep up. Here you can see a cacti that's decided it's time to die. Too wet this last winter. And we might save some of it, but we've got plenty of seed there to replace them.
Yep.
And this big guy here is pupped a couple of years ago from the top.
Which is strange because it doesn't normally do that.
You can see the strange where the flowers are coming like, instead of a flower we're getting pineapples, and then the pineapples turn into cactus.
Is there a reason why they twist? Like,
Yeah, how
Just
just how they grow?
just got a little bit of a twist, and then they continue slowly doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Often they'll straighten up. And then a Mexican fence post.
Pachycereus marginatus. There
Yeah,
you go.
gee, you're getting better.
Take that one. Take that. Take it to the bank.
Not only can he hold 2 phones, he can also remember a few names. Here's a couple of little plants that have grown in the shade. So that's the reason that in our garden and all gardens, unless you've got the perfect climate, we would have millions of seeds fall every year on the ground or be carted away by ants, and only probably 50 or so, 50 to 100 get harvested each year. And that's only if we go looking for them when we have nothing better, or I have nothing better to do. I'd rather talk to you guys and get my hands prickled trying to get some of them out. So that's how they would grow in the wild. They will only grow where they get, so these ones here would have grown here when we had the wet weather at the end of last season. They would have germinated, and then going through the mild winter, they'd continue to grow because this is the warmer side of the plant. And we've gone through a whole wet winter and they've just kept growing, so phenomenal growth. Normally over here they would grow on the back side here, which is away from the sun, and they would survive under there, as this one over here has. So that would have been a summer strike. So that's what happens in the wild, and that's why you take them inside a seed pod and you grow them, and you'll get a much better outcome than growing them, waiting for them just to grow in the garden.
And check out the flowers on these as well.
And then let's see if we go do the saguaro. Oh, maybe this couple of these pharaoh cactus flowers. Show people them, John. So these are hybrids, and you can from pharaoh cactus coloratus. And you can see all the different flower types, how they've crossed. And how there's different squat ones, tall ones which are more like the coloratus with the twist in the spine, central spine, and how they've crossed over some of the other varieties is what gives them the different flowers. And there's some more around there with different flowers again. And then over there we have a crested opuntia, very unusual. We just have to keep harvesting all the normal leaves off and just keep promoting the crested part. I'm going to try grafting again this summer. Hopefully this time I'll get it to work. And then up here we've got the big guy with a little pup. A saguaro. Now to give you an idea, I'm about 5 metres high. No, I'm not. I'm maybe 185, 86. And
Dreaming.
you can see how big. And the other thing that's happening now is it's bulking out this way. Up until now it's been roughly what I am, and then this winter, because of all the rain and that, and the warmth just now without it being real hot, it's continued to bulk out, and it's really getting... So these are one of the cacti that probably won't fall unless they get rot in them, because they actually have quite an extensive taproot and a very, very strong woody centre. And so this guy up there has got our first pup and flowers, and over the other side we have a Pachycereus Pringlei flowering for the second year, and we got 5 pods of seed last year, so we do have some crossbreds which will be grown, and they'll do really well. We'll keep all those plants for here for the future because they will have partly adapted to our climate now.
How old was this one?
This plant was planted out in 1996, Alyssa, and it was 150 or 6 inches tall.
Wow.
So what we suspect, there are other plants in the garden that are the same age, and they're only, most of them are, some of them are less than a metre still, and a couple are around 1.5 metres. There's one which has only been planted out, there's 2 here. They've only been planted out for 5 years, and you can see the growth.
Yeah, wow.
So what we suspect, or what I know, is that there's a patch of deep sand in this area, and I suspect that when we were in the drought, they went down to the water table.
Feel free to join us, guys.
Yeah.
We're doing a bit of a guided tour if you want to join us.
Take as many photographs as you like. So that's the big guy.
And my pants are slowly falling down, so if you stay here long enough, there'll be a second show.
And then you can see here, it's not such an interesting thing, I guess, but you can see a bit of a wound here. Some young child has probably thrown a stone. This is what happens quite often. They think throwing stones is quite okay. But it injures the plant, and then unless you spot it and spray it quickly, you get a bit of a patch, but that's dried up now, so we've treated that. And then here, we've got another big pharaoh cactus. And you can see the same thing here. This one in our winter tends to get these little bits that melt a bit around the spike.
Yeah.
And these plants are probably as big as they grow in the wild or bigger. I don't know, I remember having one of these descriptions as growing 50 centimetres by 40 centimetres. I think it was a wrong description somehow because they're all growing bigger. And then another interesting plant is agave truncata, Parrii truncata.
Yes.
Has beautiful leaves and magnificent shape, and it's the only agave I think with an agave expert will probably challenge me, and that's fine. But it grows up on a trunk eventually, hence its subspecies name of truncata.
Can't wait to get back to your garden someday. My partner and I have been about 3 times and there's always something new to see. Thanks, warmer climate.
And then up here, we can see the flowers on Pringlei. And you can see how big these pups are. They're massive.
Wow.
And they're just growing and growing. So this is much faster. This was planted out in 2010 as a small plant. And you can see that it's a bit of a race happening over there. I'm not sure who's winning without standing back and having a look. But it's magnificent.
Whoa.
And then
Jeez. They're pretty close to each other.
one of my things that I'm really enjoying seeing is that we have one of our really great form agaves down here growing.
Is it
So this is a
Utahensis
hybrid, and it's grows a little bit bigger than the normal form. And you can see that it's got lots of flowers, and we're hoping that we set some seed crosses with other plants in the garden. So there's quite a few things flowering, so the chance of it happening. So why it's exciting that it's this one and I don't pick off over there is because this will give me the greatest chance of having some really saleable plants and some really great hybrids going forward, as opposed to harvesting off an Americana where you get lots of Americana types and think, well, why did I do that?
So just got a couple of questions. So first of all, we're located up on the Murray River in northern Victoria, about 3 hours north of Melbourne. And this plant is probably about 6-7 meters tall, maybe slightly taller. Sorry, just a couple of questions in the comments. Wanted to get back to. Close to what?
Yeah, a bit over 6 meters, I think.
Yeah.
And what else do we have, John?
Only if you wanted to go that way and go up the dome.
Let's go back.
Otherwise, the Cactus grissonii, or what are they called? The big barrel cacti that with the sacrificial ones.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, let's just.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Feel free to join us. We're just doing a live tour if anyone wants to join.
So this plant here, we were looking at the other one, planted in 1996. As I said, this one was planted out in 2010, just a little plant, and you can see how big it's already grown. Same age as the one over there. This one's just liking the space a little bit better. And then these ones over here were planted even later, and they're already a lot bigger and planty. So they're Pringleis, or Pringlei hybrids. Pachycereus Pringlei. And then
Oh, this one's epic.
Pachycereus.
How big do these get, Dad?
Probably about twice this height eventually as a very old plant. A little susceptible to the cold here, but as long as you can get them through the winter, they'll repair and grow all right. And you can see, like we were saying, so this is Lophocereus, and you can see this the same as the
Same family.
pole.
Yeah.
And you can see here it's been flowering now for a while, and it's got this more spiky. So I think that's probably to protect the fruit.
How many years can those cactus live? Referring probably to the Pringlei.
I'd say maybe 1,000 years.
Wow.
1,000 years old. I don't think they really know because you can't cut the wood or anything to get a
Accurate.
indication of how old they are. And then around here you can see some of the yuccas, the different yuccas. I'm no expert on yuccas, I just like them too. This guy's going to grow into a monster eventually. It's got a very thick trunk and eventually will be meters high. So if you want to come here in about 100 years, book your ticket. That's going to be huge. And then some of the smaller yuccas here,
They're a bit bluer.
bit bluer, and you can see that that's their form, that's their shape, that's the size, and they'll just go up like on a stick. And the stick will get a little bit thicker. And what I wanted to show you over here, and we've only got a few flowers, so I don't think there's any more. Yeah. So this is one of the really attractive Echinocereuses, and grows very prolifically, and you just get heaps and heaps of flowers. So in other parts of the garden, there are some big clumps of these that are purple that are flowering. At the moment, I'm just not sure where. But we're leading up to, and we'll probably finish for today. There's some more flowers there, John, on some more of these Coreophanthus. I'll show them those. Flowers are always good. This very unusual flower. So what happened here was we got a bit of cold weather. This plant started to send up its spike, and then it got a dose of rain, and it grew like crazy, and then it got too top heavy, so it bent over. And you can probably see, maybe from this aspect, John, back here, you'll see how it's curled over. And now it's trying to straighten up again. But it's going to make a very unusual flower. It might be once in a lifetime in the garden happening. But maybe it'll happen again next year, who knows?
Harry H. Guan asks, how do you get them to grow so fast? I know people growing thick columnars for 50 years and not half that size.
You've got to live in the Goldilocks zone. If you're in the Goldilocks zone at Strathmerton, this is what happens. That's all we can say. But you have a lot more fall down, so there's a downside. There's an upside and a downside.
Yeah, top heavy cacti.
Toppling cacti. So this is a hybrid Phaerocactus. It's a cross between this one at the back here and Phaerocactus latispinus. And hence we have these much big, broader. So for anybody who knows the latispinus, it has a very broad central theme and only a small growing plant. This would be bigger than the other half of the breed was. So it would be probably, as a large age plant, about half this height. But this is going to grow larger by the look of it. I think it'll grow much bigger than what it is. But only time will tell that. But you can see how big yeah, it's eluded me.
What, the name or how old it is?
So you can see the spikes here, they're not very big.
So it's not fair.
No, it's the one they call Horridus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll just call it Horridus. It's fine.
It's not its proper name though, but anyway.
Should be right.
We'll go with that. To anybody who knows what we know.
No one's going to
But
hold
you can see different seed pod, different spikes. That's half the parentage, and then the other half, it's a very small Phaerocactus, and it has those very strong spikes, and is known for that. And that's the result of a cross. So that's where, when you're breeding, you're trying to get interesting shapes and forms. And around here we can see some more of the crosses, and some of them have turned out more. This would be the extreme at the bottom end, and then the other ones are probably going to grow more like the parent.
How often does it rain here?
This year, all the time.
Mm.
No, well, normally we have a very dry summer. Yeah.
Had to pull up my pants.
Normally we have a very dry summer, guys. And
I've got no butt. It's a real problem.
So, yeah, that's lost my chance.
Well, you asked.
And look up there, guys, is our dome. And I think we'll end there today because we want to leave. Oh, John, look at all the flowers over there.
Yeah, nice. All right, we'll end on that.
Yeah, end on that. Thanks, guys. Oh.
It's in the genes.
See where you went with that.
Yep. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. Yep, we said we'd go live again at about 2 today, so that was that session. It's 2 p.m. or it's almost 3 p.m. now here in Australia, and we ended up drawing a bit of a crowd as we went around, which is really nice. And this weekend will continue to be good flowering, and we'll keep you updated on any other flowers that are coming. So keep an eye out on socials if you want to see the best days to come and see the garden. See you guys.
You can really get caught.